It's still the Bumper Breakfast Show. And this morning I'm excited to say that we have a guest with us, live in the studio. We'd like to introduce to you, is it Mr., is it Chief, is it a doctor? I mean, what? Okay, so it's as simple as Mr. We'd like to introduce to you Mr. Tayo Awomosun. He is the Lagos State Chairman of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. And today we will be discussing building control and regulation in Nigeria. You want to ask me, my first question to you is there adequate monitoring of building construction in Lagos? And the reason I ask this question is because as construction work springs up numerously on a daily basis, we see that some of them are put up on drainage channels, power lines and so on and so forth. And then we start to wonder, are these things supervised? Do they have permits? Are they sticking by the rules? Or are they being compliant? These are the kind of questions we ask ourselves on a daily basis when we see this kind of construction works spring up. And so I'm putting that question to you. Are there permits? Is this compliant? Is there supervision?
Thank you. Let me say, we have a process in place for building control in Lagos State. The process starts with getting planning permit, where after getting planning permit from the Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority, the developer is expected to go to inform the Lagos State Building Control Agency. There is a special agency for controlling the production of buildings in Lagos State. Yes, like I said, there is a process in place, but it's a different matter whether the process is as effective and efficient as it should be. Obviously, it is not, because it depends on two things happening simultaneously. It depends on voluntary compliance from the developers and effective control from the relevant agency, that's LABSCA. I said, the building development initiative starts with the developer. You are expected by law and external regulations in Lagos State to visit the Physical Planning Permit Authority, that is the Town Planning Office, to request for whenever you have intention of developing. You are requested to apply for a planning permit voluntarily. You don't have to be chased. The law already requires that. Let's say ignorance is not a defense in law, right?
Yes,
so
correct.
Everybody is expected to know that. And when you get that permit, you are expected to now report to LABSCA that I've got this permit. I want to start construction. Come and monitor my activities. What building control involves is what call it state certification. At every stage, when you lay the foundation, LABSCA is supposed to send its officials to look at what you are doing. And when you do get it right, they give you an okay. When you get to the next, that allows you to proceed to the next stage. When you get to the next stage, maybe you've got to the lintel level, you pour concrete, you are supposed to, again, let them know that I'm proceeding. They give you approval. Yeah, every stage like that, that's what they call state certification. That's how it should be done. But it's a different matter entirely whether it's being done effectively. Because most construction, they don't, for a lot of people, they simply go to their site, start work.
And they just start to finish.
Start work. And it imposes a lot of cost on the planning office, the LABSCA, because they have to be chasing people around. They spend a lot of their efforts, personnel, money chasing people around.
But what has the government, or would I say, what have LABSCA done to shape all this? Because right now, as we speak, there's a building close to my own house they're building, and I keep looking at this building. They are not taking it to, when I went home, like 2 months back, it was a lintel level. Now I got on this way, and they have two-story buildings. Now it's two-story building. People just keep building without, even I'm not even aware that when you get to lintel
you
level,
have
to go
stage by stage.
Stage by stage. But what have LABSCA, what have they done to curb all these illegalities in our nation, especially Lagos?
That is not LABSCA.
Okay.
The moment you get your permit, you are no longer under the supervision of LABSCA. You move to the supervision of LABSCA, the Lagos State Building Control Agency. It is the agency that is supposed to certify that you have complied with all the formalities, the process, you use the right materials, the right personnel, until you finish the building where they give you a certificate of habitation. They're supposed to certify that every building is fit for habitation before anybody lives in it. That's the rule.
You know, I was going to ask you if the agencies really monitor this construction, but in your answer, you already said that they don't really monitor.
I didn't say that. They do monitor.
Okay, they do monitor. They monitor the construction.
They do monitor.
But how come people are able to get away not going the right channel?
Okay, I'm telling you now that you are supposed to apply voluntary compliance. Voluntary compliance is very low. These agencies don't have all the manpower to monitor everywhere. For instance, you saw a building coming up in your neighborhood. You're supposed to call them and inform them you saw this. That's how it happens. You see something, you say something, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to help the government if you tell the general manager or the PRO unit of LASCA that you saw a building coming up in your neighborhood that you suspect is something, they will come and check it out. No. They do monitor, but they can't be obviously everywhere.
So the onus lies on you now to do something about it.
If you see something, say something.
Even for your security.
Yes, but to report, do we have any numbers so that people watching us right now, because I know this thing I'm saying, some people are experiencing it right now as well in their area, but we don't even know the right quarter, we don't know the right place to go to. Are there any numbers?
Okay. Yeah, obviously, I don't work in the agency.
Okay.
And that is not actually the remit of town planners.
Okay.
LASCA is the remit of engineers, architects, and builders. Okay. But I can personally get the number across to you.
Okay, thank you. We will appreciate that.
And I know he will appreciate if you help him this way.
We wouldn't even mind having him as a guest also at some point on the program.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
we won't mind. Yes, we won't mind inviting him. You know, recently in Highbrow, Ikoyi. I mean, we're not even. Let's move away from Lagos Island because we know there are a lot of cases in Lagos Island. Highbrow, Ikoyi. I mean, that's where you expect the elite to live. That's where it's not where we expect them to. That's where the elites live. And you expect so much from people like that. And then when you have incidents like this, the kind of incidents we're talking about, happen in Ikoyi, only to find out, you know, that certain permits were not acquired, certain processes and procedures were not followed, you now start to wonder, how do things like this happen?
Well, you know it's the elites that break the law mostly in Nigeria.
I don't know.
You should know that.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm hearing it from you.
It is the elites. It is law breaking is perhaps a status symbol in Nigeria. It's the elite that break the law most. So it is surprising that you have that kind of thing because they are supposed to be.
They're supposed to know the law and follow the law.
They're supposed to know the law. The buildings are expensive. They should provide everything. But Nigerians generally we are averse to. We cut corners a lot.
Yes.
We want to make more money. We want to get things done faster than they should be. So all these things makes us cut corners a lot. It does not. So the elites, like I told you, the elites break the law more. They cut corner more. So the risk will fall on them more.
Yeah, because they spend so much money. Yeah. You know, and you know, what kind of penalties? You know, we want to know that the kind of penalties that are given to people who break the law, you know, in this regard, you know, is, you know, really worth it, you know, because I believe that it will act as a deterrent to others. But if the penalties are not, you know, are not really, you know, heavy, you know, so to speak, then people will repeat and repeat. Well, after all, the penalty is really nothing to talk about.
I disagree with you there.
Okay.
I don't believe heavy penalty is what deters law breaking.
Okay.
What deters law breaking is apprehension. Even if penalty is not too big, rather it's commensurate with your offense. But what is more important is being apprehended. If 10 people commit offense and 9 people are apprehended, it's a very high success rate. But what you have in Nigeria is that the moment you commit a crime, you walk away. That's all. We have not heard of many of the buildings collapsing, the owners anything being done to the owners. Or there are laws says if your building collapse, for instance, you should lose, in addition to any other punishment you have suffered, probably for people dying, collateral damage, you should lose your land or things like that. But we never hear about that. So we are not very good at enforcing our laws. So it's not just about, what's the point in instilling more punishment that will just sit in the books, not used? So I believe the laws are okay, but we need to enforce them.
Okay, I'm going to take you back a little bit, sir, because as a town planner, sir, where do you come in?
Town planners actually, in the building development stage, town planners come in at the pre-planning stage.
They come in at the pre-planning stage?
Yeah.
So before you
As
get
well
a
as
land,
yeah,
if you want...
at the planning stage, the pre-construction stage.
Oh. So if you want to get a land, you need to go see a town planner before you do anything?
Yes. Before you get a land, if you see a town planner, you get the best advice. We advise you whether the land will be suitable.
Location,
whether it's you can use it for. There's what we call zoning. What is it zoning for in the existing plans? Whether you can be allowed to use it for what you want to do. The zoning law says if you zone an area for residential, no use for residential. If you zone it for commercial use, no use for commercial use. So if you get a town planner before you even buy the land, you get a very good result. He will tell you don't buy land in that area. He knows the terrain. That area you can't use it. Maybe slope, maybe terrain, every other issue. So he can advise you appropriately until you get your permit. When building is now the responsibility of the engineers and the architects.
So that sector, does it really work well in Nigeria here? Do people really approach the town planners to check maybe it's a commercial area or it's going to be used, it's going to be a residential area, a commercial area in future?
People don't, and that's a major problem. They don't often, because I told you now that we cut corners a lot. It's part of the cutting corners we're talking about. We don't, probably out of saving costs, penny wise, pound foolish. You now buy the land and I tell you it's not approvable for, maybe you want to build a school. You buy land in a residential area, meant for residential development. There's no approval order. Every layer has a plan, has allocated an area of what can be used for. That's how we have harmony in residential in communities. That's the planning, basic planning tool. You have a neighborhood plan for every community. So if you now buy a land for residential, you want to build a shopping center, it will be a no-no, and you will be left with probably thinking of how to use for another thing.
Back in the days, we used to have what you call industrial estates, industrial layouts, where the commercial, activities used to happen. And then, we had the residential, and it was strictly and purely residential. For example, Awolowo Road in Ikoyi, was residential. Allen Avenue was residential. But gradually, these places started to become commercial. And then you wonder what's going on. And everybody, the residents in those areas started to migrate, started to move out to allow the commercial, because once it becomes commercialized, they start, there could be a security risk, so they all start to move out, whether they wanted to or not, just for their safety. In such a situation, how do we prevent this kind of things from happening, such that people in their quest to do business don't render us homeless?
Yeah, it's a major problem. Over time, you have a lot of what we call land use changes. Land value rises. People feel they can drive more value from their land along Awolowo Road, Okpebi or Allen Avenue. And they think residential users cannot provide the kind of rent they want. At the same time, businesses expand, they need prime locations. Those places we are talking about are prime locations. There is provision too in planning laws and regulations for reviewing plans for residential areas, for neighborhoods every 5 years or so. Changes can be accommodated if done this way, if they are done within the planning framework. But if they are haphazard, if everybody just go ahead and make the changes, that's where you have the problem. You have a lot of conflicts. But if you review the plan of an area, the neighborhood of an area, and you find that this road, this corridor will serve commercial better, fine, it will be orderly. But in the situation where everybody just makes the decision independently, even before the planning office hears of it. Like I told you now, I think our problem is still the same, going back to the same problem I told you about. That's the lack of voluntary compliance.
All right, so what is the way forward?
I will counsel that people obey planning laws, voluntary compliance. If you want to do anything, visit the planning office and make inquiries, or get a town planner, a consultant town planner to advise you. So we all complain, because we're all affected. But it is only when things go wrong that we value that, oh, there should be planners somewhere. You understand? But when we want to do things, we don't remember that. Everybody will build on the canal without, no planner would, allow you to build on the canal. For instance, there's a setback you must maintain. You will advise in your own interest, but out of selfish interest, everybody does that. Obviously, because they didn't follow the law. So I advise that before we carry out any development, even before you start, when you are conceiving it, consult a town planner. If you don't want to consult a private sector, a consultant, town planner, you can walk to the planning office and ask relevant questions to give you good advice. You will be compliant. You won't
so Rizzi will see government just come all of a sudden and they start breaking houses.
Yes.
Because
the town planner was not involved in the planning at the onset.
You have obviously broken the law. And they will have given you a lot of notices.
But I think the public should be more enlightened. Some people do not know. Like the ones that are, I don't want to use the word illiterate for them. You know, those ones, they don't even know that there's a meaning.
Rules. They
just buy land and they start building.
Okay.
I think the town planners, they need to do more awareness. They need to create more awareness for the people.
Actually,
we'll take note.
I think you should take note of that.
We need the press too to help us.
Yeah, you can walk. That's what we're here for.
Right
That's what we're here for. Just tell us your needs, and we will assist.
Yeah, we'll let the public know that.
Yes, but I was just going to round up. But before that, I see a lot of houses being built where you have power lines. Power lines directly on top of the houses. I mean, do people understand the dangers involved in this thing? You want to tell them how dangerous it could be.
Yeah, it is. I don't think anybody needs to be told.
Some people do, because
if you walk under power line, you see probably under the rain, you see the light coming up under your umbrella, charging.
Yeah, you can actually hear the sound.
The sound. I wonder why people want to. Everybody knows, but then people does it a lot. Is it for power lines? There are different categories. There are different setbacks. Setbacks means the distance you must observe to a particular utility. So depending on the categories, the minimum is 15 meters for the smallest power line. Now, why would people want to live under the power line or too close?
Well, a lot of people do.
Everybody,
you have power line in various areas where you have.
And when the government demolished these houses, everybody will shout. You understand? So it's a catch-22 situation. People want to break the law. It's not good for their health. When things happen, they blame the government. But if the government move in to demolish,
they will start crying and start cursing. And people will come out, they will start blaming the government.
So you see, people need to understand that for everything, there should be personal responsibility. We must take responsibility for our actions. We must voluntarily comply with our laws. That is, the laws are not even made for the government. The laws are meant for our own comfort.
For our comfort.
Our own safety. But we operate, regardless of these rules meant to save us from the elements.
Thank you very much, sir. You have a question?
No.
Before you leave, I want you to look at that camera, sir, and tell all those people that want to start building. Quickly advise them on what to do, sir, before they start building.
I want to advise Lagosians that building development, there's a process. And the process starts with getting development permit. You get better results when you consult, when you start with town planner. For building, we advise. Town planners advise us. We advise you. Town planners serve in public interest. So if you follow the process, you will be taking less risk. You will be having less risk of your building collapsing, you blocking the drainage. Somebody will advise you on getting things done efficiently. So I advise that we should voluntarily comply with Lagos State planning laws and regulations. They are made for our own safety, for our own comfort. They are meant to make our communities livable. So let's follow the laws, and we'll get very good results. Not the flooding, complaining about building collapse every day, about traffic. So it depends on you and I. So
Thank you so much. We're going to be taking a break now, but we have an agreement today that you're going to be making, we're going to be going on enlightenment campaigns, and you're going to be coming back to MITV, and you're going to be preparing, some financial, what is it? Tessie, it's time to market, because you know that we need to stay on air. So you're going to, your institute is more than capable. Put some monies together and let's go on a massive campaign for you, and we promise that we will do a very, very good job.
I love that.
For you. We promise we'll do a good job.
I
for
hope
you.
I have a right of reply to that.
A right to reply.
The right of reply.
You are the chairman. You have a right to
okay,
reply.
okay. Let's give you a second.
Well, our institute is a non-professional,
Non-governmental
agency. We are we're not a commercial agency. It depends on dues from members. We're not that rich, but we run. For example, we run a program on a radio station, talking about. Do you want me to measure the station?
No, not at all.
We run a program on radio station every Monday 2:30 p.m.
Okay, but let's also tell you
Okay,
that we're not also
Please.
that expensive. We won't scare you. Just come. We're expecting you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. We have to take this break. Thank you. We had Mr. Tayo Awomosu, the Lagos State Chairman, Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, as our guest. We'll take a break and we'll be right back. Please stay tuned.